Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, all that research, those articles, your notes, and really boil them down to the core insights. Today, we're looking at the really extraordinary journey of an artist who shot to fame before he was even old enough to drive, a true global phenomenon.
We are talking about Justin Bieber, of course,
Yeah.
and our sources map out this incredible path, from just a talented kid in Canada to becoming one of the world's best-selling music artists. This deep dive, it's not just about hitting the milestones. We're aiming to uncover those pivotal moments, the surprising facts, and also the unique pressures that really shaped his career and, well, his personal life, too, all under this intense spotlight.
Exactly. Our mission here is to give you a clear picture of how Justin Bieber became the icon he is today, from those really humble beginnings right up to where he is now. So looking at the start, his origin story, what's the first thing that sort of jumps out at you?
Well, what's really fascinating is just how organic it all was at the beginning. He was born March 1st, 1994 in London, Ontario, grew up in Stratford. And, he came from a pretty modest background, mainly raised by his mother, Patty Millett, who worked various low-paying jobs. His parents, Patty and Jeremy Bieber, they were just teenagers and never married.
Okay, so a modest start, but even then he wasn't just singing, right? He was teaching himself instruments.
Yeah, a multi-instrumentalist from a really young age.
Hmm.
Taught himself drums, guitar, piano, even trumpet.
Wow. Just picking them up like that. And then, only 12 years old, this is 2007, he enters a local singing contest and comes in second.
Right. And that raises the question, doesn't it? How does that local talent suddenly explode onto the global stage? Well, his mother, Patty, she started uploading videos of him performing, mostly covers of R&B songs, onto YouTube.
And this wasn't like a strategy for fame?
No, not at all initially. It was just for friends and family to see. But somehow these videos just took off. Millions of views.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, right? The discovery moment.
Exactly. In 2008, Scooter Braun, a talent manager, he just stumbles across these YouTube videos. Totally by accident. Apparently, he was searching for a different singer altogether.
Imagine that, just stumbling on to that.
Right. And he was just so impressed by Bieber's raw talent, his charisma on camera. Even then, he flew the kid, who was only 13 at the time, down to Atlanta to record some demo tapes.
So that's the connection point. The old way meets the new way.
Pretty much. This is where, the traditional music industry machine connects with this brand new digital phenomenon. Because in Atlanta, Bieber meets Usher, the R&B superstar.
Sure, okay. Big connection.
Huge. And that meeting leads directly to a recording contract with Island Records in late 2008. It was actually a joint venture with RBMG Raymond Braun Media Group, which was Usher and Scooter Braun's own company.
Wow. So it's a classic rags to riches, but with this completely modern, like, YouTube twist.
Precisely. It kind of set a new blueprint.
Okay, so the stage is set. He's got the talent, the accidental discovery, the major record deal, Usher in his corner. What happens next? How does this spark the whole Belieber thing?
Well, things moved fast. His debut single, One Time, drops in May 2009. And immediately, it's charting in the top 30 in, over 10 countries.
That's a huge start, right out of the gate.
A very strong signal, yeah. But it was really just the beginning.
And then came the EP, My World, November 2009, 7 tracks. And that went platinum in the U.S. pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where he makes history, right?
Yeah.
First artist ever to have 7 songs from a debut release chart on the Billboard Hot 100. That's just incredible for anyone, let alone a teenager.
It absolutely solidified his arrival. And then his first full album, My World 2.0, comes out in March 2010, debuts at #1 on the Billboard album chart.
And the defining track from that one has to be Baby, right, with Ludacris?
Oh, absolutely. Baby was a phenomenon. It became one of the most viewed videos on YouTube, stayed that way for several years.
And this is really when that passionate fan base, mostly young girls, gets the name Beliebers. You could really feel that energy.
Yeah, you really could.
So what does this mean? Seeing a global star just emerge straight from YouTube like that, what did that signal to the music industry at the time?
Well, it fundamentally changed things. It showed labels that talent could be found and an audience could be built entirely online before the big machine even got involved. It sort of put the discovery power more into the hands of the audience, It forced the industry to pay serious attention to digital presence, online engagement. They had to adapt quickly.
A major shift. So his career just kept climbing after that.
Oh, yeah, the trajectory was still upwards. He had successful albums like Under the Mistletoe in 2011, Believe in 2012, kept things moving. But I think a really significant turning point, artistically anyway, was Purpose in 2015.
Ah, Purpose. Yeah, that felt like a shift. He really changed his sound there, didn't he?
Huh.
Exploring more mature pop and R&B.
Exactly, a deliberate reinvention.
Right.
And it worked. It got him his first Grammy Award, Best Dance Recording for Where Are You Now, which was that collaboration with Jakku, Skrillex and Diplo.
A Grammy felt important, like validation for the new direction.
It really was. And it wasn't just critical acclaim either. Purpose was huge commercially. It gave him 3 Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles, Love Yourself, Sorry, and What Do You Mean?
Right. So he proved he could evolve beyond that initial teen pop sound and still completely dominate the charts.
Absolutely. Maintained that chart dominance. And he kept having massive hits through collaborations, too. Think about the Despacito remix with Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee.
Oh, yeah, that was everywhere.
Huge. And Stay with the Kid, Lay or Lie. Both went to #1 on the Hot 100. It just shows his versatility, his appeal across different genres, different artists.
And the albums kept coming. Changes in 2020, Justice in 2021, both debuted at #1 as well.
And Justice got a lot of Grammy attention, too. 8 nominations, including Song of the Year for Peaches.
So when you look at the sheer numbers, what is it? 2 Grammys, a Latin Grammy, 26 Billboard Music Awards, 18 AMAs, a record 22 MTV Europe Music Awards.
Yeah, the list goes on.
And over 150 million records sold worldwide. It's not just success, it's sustained massive global impact.
It really is. But as you can probably imagine, growing up literally in the spotlight from, 13, 14 years old, his personal life has been under just relentless media scrutiny.
Absolutely. We've all seen the headlines over the years, the whole thing with Selena Gomez back and forth, and various public controversies, especially during those teenage years. It's a really stark reminder of the pressure involved.
Immense pressure, which really makes you ask, how do you find any kind of stability in that kind of environment? Our sources note that in 2018, he married the model Hailey Baldwin, now Hailey Bieber. That seemed to be a real anchor point for him.
The shift towards maybe finding some personal grounding.
It seems that way. And they recently welcomed their first child, Jack Blues, just this past August 2024, building a family that often provides stability.
And he's also been quite open, hasn't he, about his struggles, mental health, the pressures of growing up so famous, so fast.
Yes, very open in recent years. And that vulnerability, I think, it gives us a glimpse into the human being behind the superstar image. It shows the struggles are real, even for someone at that level.
So when we wrap this all up, what does it mean? We've followed this journey from a kid posting videos on YouTube in small-town Ontario to this global icon.
Yeah.
Unparalleled success, records broken, this incredibly loyal fan base.
Well, if you connect it to the bigger picture, his story is really Exhibit A for how dramatically talent discovery and stardom changed with the digital age. It's obviously a testament to his talent, but also, the sheer power of online platforms and the kind of overwhelming nature of that instant global fame.
Yeah. His evolution, both as an artist and maybe more profoundly as a person, all playing out under the world's microscope. It's really something to think about. He's not just a musician anymore. He's like a case study in modern celebrity.
He really is. Which leads to, I think, an important question for you, the listener, to think about. Given the trajectory of his career, starting so incredibly young, achieving that level of fame so fast, what unique pressures do you think artists face today? Pressures that maybe previous generations didn't experience in quite the same way? And how does that intense, constant scrutiny potentially shape their art and just their personal well-being long term?